Hello everybody, this is Stephen Howson, and this is a bit of a weird video for us to make, but I'm sure you've seen now the professional game in England has been cancelled until the 3rd of April at the earliest. Some people off record are suggesting 3rd of April is fucking deluded for it to be coming back. The Football Association, Premier League, EFL, and the Barclays FA Women's Super League and Women's FA Championship collectively agree to postpone until the 3rd of April. We saw all of the Scottish football season get postponed indefinitely. Domestic football at all levels in Wales has been suspended until the 4th of April. Where they get an extra day? Formula 1 decided that the start of the season is suspended. The Bahrain and Vietnam Grand Prix, due to be held in March and April, been called off. Cycling, the 6th day in Manchester, going to be held this weekend, not taking place. England's Test Series against Sri Lanka, not taking place. Ice hockey have cancelled their Elite League. Squash, the PSA Tour is suspended until the end of April. Obviously, there's several footballers that have come down with it, including Arteta, Hudson-Odoi, several players at Leicester. The Players' Championship in Florida got cancelled. French Rugby Union have suspended all competitions. Leeds have suspended their game in Super League, in Rugby League, against Catalans, although it seems like the rest of Rugby League is going for it. UEFA have suspended all football competitions in the Europa League and the Champions League indefinitely. I'm sure by now you're aware of the reasons behind it. Why? And obviously, yes, it's down to the global pandemic of coronavirus. I don't know if it's time to worry yet. It doesn't actually feel real, does it? I know we saw Manchester United last week playing LASK in a stadium behind closed doors, but okay, that was weird, but it wasn't the weirdest, was it? It just felt kind of like with football being suspended. That's big. I don't ever remember another incident that's caused football to be suspended for any length of time, and certainly like this. And you see in America issuing travel bans for all Europe. There's people that are not allowed to leave certain parts of Italy. Self-isolation seems to be the buzzword of the last couple of days, and I like to think of myself as fairly level-headed. Obviously, I served 7 years in the military, which I don't really talk about that much on camera. But I've dealt with some crises, and I've obviously been to war several times myself, and I don't like to think I get too giddy with this sort of stuff, but I've got to admit, I have elderly relatives and I have a young family, and I am concerned. I don't know what this means for us. I don't know what this means for the lads I employ in this studio. I don't know what this means for everybody going forward. We've just had one of our contracts cancelled, and they're using the act of God of the coronavirus to pull the plug on something that essentially pays people's wages. So it's a concerning time on many fronts now. The Vanarama League are deciding to just go fuck it and continue playing. Maybe they think that they don't get enough fans anyway for it to be any sort of mass gathering, which is what people seem to be trying to avoid. I got the train into work this morning, and I was actually looking around the train going, Jesus Christ, there's a lot of people on this train. Coughing and touching stuff, and it does make you a little bit on the paranoid side, and it's obviously nowhere near what you're seeing at football stadiums, nowhere near what you're seeing at somewhere like Cheltenham. But it does make you start to think. The lads in the office have been washing their hands and dishing out hand sanitizer like you bet them they couldn't. We're about to hit something that's really uncertain. Football season starts in August, ends in May, and then usually in the summer there's pre-seasons. There's international tournaments. This year there was an Olympics. The Olympics was the one that I always thought was in real jeopardy of happening, just on the sheer nature that the entire world flies to one very small place, and all of the athletes usually share a stadium on that one day. for the opening ceremony, where there's literally congregations of thousands of people that have flown from everywhere, gone through airports, which are notoriously bad for passing on this sort of thing. And then they spend 2 weeks there, and then they all fly home again. And you just think, yeah, the Olympics is a fucking bad idea, isn't it, during a global pandemic. That definitely makes sure that the places that weren't getting it are going to get it. It sounds like there's going to be a serious amount of infection rate across the country. Everybody in this office got the flu on the back of us doing the 24-hour podcast. I think partially maybe the virus was already around, but the reduced immune system that you get by staying up for 24 hours, it's actually kind of graft. So I think a few of us came down with it on the back end of that, and then those who didn't immediately get it, it ripped through because obviously we work in close proximity with each other. The same thing I am certain would happen if one of the lads got the coronavirus. What do we do then? Well, like I said, yeah, the football season it's set in stone, isn't it? Felt weird when he was talking about moving the World Cup to the winter so it could be staged in Qatar, which was crooked as fuck from the off-go. And you're like, how's that going to work in the middle of the season? It's fucking weird, isn't it? How's this going to work now? How does this come back? You saw the chaos either side of the so-called winter break that we had. That forced people into having to play more matches either side of the winter break than they would have normally done, resulting in us really needing the winter break, eliminating the very thing that the winter break was there for. I wish I had some answers for you. I wish I had some answers to the questions I've got myself. 3rd of April, sound. Well, then what? Is it behind closed doors matches from then till the end of the season? I read something yesterday that the Premier League has got eye-watering penalties from the TV rights companies if they cancel the league. And obviously, I want to sit here and make jokes about the Scousers not winning the league. But I don't fucking know what's going on at all with any of this. Do they void this season? Do they finish this season? Do they postpone it and just play it when they can? Play Wednesday, Saturday until we're done? Who makes those decisions? Who schedules and calendars those decisions? Where does the Euros fit in? What happens to the Olympics? I'm not suggesting that United had any prior warning of this, but it was weird that United hadn't announced a pre-season when they had announced it all the way back in November the previous year. I don't know if they was just keeping stum on where it was going to be. But if we do pre-season, the rumours that were doing the mill was it was going to be the East Coast of America and then possibly Saudi Arabia or India. Wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to be doing that now, would it? So if we even get pre-season, will it just be a domestic one? Maybe it'll be an entirely Old Trafford-based pre-season. Maybe it'll be a Scotland and Ireland-based pre-season. Is that too much travel? I honestly said I've never experienced anything where everything gets suspended like this. It's kind of mad. It feels kind of empty, doesn't it? Because there's no answers from people. No one has got a Scooby-Doo what's happening with this. So no one can give you any sort of guidance on, yeah, don't worry, the football will be back in X number of days. Yeah, all right, this is going to be blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but it's, any of that. What we're planning on doing initially in the studio is we're going to focus a little bit on the Stretford Paddock football team. We've got fixtures this weekend, next weekend, and the following weekend. Obviously, you might have seen, you might not have seen the Stephen Howson Football Manager series that we'd started. We're going to accelerate that a little bit. and we're going to play some fixtures. We are playing tomorrow, if you'd like to come down. 4 o'clock at the Dean's Trust in Longsight. We're going to be playing ourselves. We've got like 30 players in the squad, so we're just going to play ourselves. And I'm going to use that to sort of pick what probably is our starting 11 for some friendlies going forward. And maybe next week and the week after, we'll have some friendlies against some non-league teams from around the area. But if you're looking for some football to come and watch and you're local, Sunday, is it 15th? I think it's the 15th, isn't it? Of March, 4 o'clock at the Dean's Trust. It's no charge, just turn up, watch us. Give you a fist bump, since we're not really shaking hands. And you get your footy fixed like that. And as long as the season is postponed in terms of the Premier League, we'll stick on a friendly for the time that United were meant to kick off, and we'll try and cover it very much as we covered the Premier League and Manchester United. Sorry, it's a bit of a fucking downer, everybody. We can't really deliver that in a fucking happy, upbeat manner, can you? I'm also hungover to fuck, which don't help. So, yeah. Maybe we'll do a 5 things we learned in Stretford Paddock's first game following the match. We're going to do a podcast after the match with a couple of the players over on Stretford Paddock on that channel. So, yeah, we're just going to treat it as this is who we're covering now. If you want to get in the mix with us, more than welcome. You might have spotted some of the merch. Looks the absolute bollocks, doesn't it? There's all sorts of stuff over on the shop, which the link in the description. We've also got logo mugs. And how cool is this one? Paddock podcast mug with me and our Lord and Saviour Joseph. But yeah, if you want to come and get in the mix and come and check out Stretford Paddock, we'll be FC. We'll be playing games while there's no Premier League football. If it's all right for the Vanarama with thousands of people, it'll be all right with us and the 3 people that'll turn up and watch, I think. But on a serious note, make sure you stay safe. Make sure you're washing your hands, and make sure you're looking after your elderly relatives, because there's a bit of a high risk around those. I guess I'll see you tomorrow if you come in. Laters.